Hi everybody, welcome to According to Madume, and I am Madume. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on my video. Thank you for watching my content, and if you like content like this, don't forget to subscribe so you can get more content from me. And if you're a returning subscriber, hey, it's been a while. So in today's video, I'm going to be looking at two of the four main big banks in South Africa. What I'm going to be looking at is how do you choose a bank? Which one should you choose? Because most of the time when you're looking for a bank, it can be tedious, it can be exhausting, and you can choose the wrong bank. They always say make your money work for you, and that means choosing the right bank. Now, before I get into this video, I want to give you guys a disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I am purely doing this based on my experience with using these banks and what I have observed and how I have experienced these banks. So, now that we have that out of the way, this is how I am going to be judging these banks. I'm going to be looking at app accessibility. I'm going to be looking at ATM accessibility, and also I'm going to be looking at user experience, which is in-store experience, meeting consultants using the in-store services, and I'm also going to be looking at call center experience. I am mainly looking at these four things because those are the main things that we interact with when it comes to these banks. So it's very important that when you look for a bank, these parts of you using the bank are the best for your experience. So let's start with app accessibility. I will give Nedbank 4.5 points, mainly because their app is easy to use. It is simple when you look at it, and the homepage gives you everything that you need. At the bottom, there are the main buttons that you can use to transact, to transfer money, to make payments, which are the things that you do on a daily basis. And I appreciate that the homepage is very clean. It is not confusing. It is very to the point, and you can find everything immediately. You don't have to press too many buttons to navigate through the app. FNB gets a 2.5, mainly because their app is too cluttered. There are too many things, and you have to do too many navigations when you get into the account. The home page is also very cluttered. I will say that the main transaction buttons are at the top, so your pay, your transfer, and all of those things. But the first thing that you see is promotional content. I don't want to see promotional content when I open my bank. I want to get to the point. If I do want to see promotional content, I will reach out to you guys. Guys, do you have any promotional content? Or they should have put it in spaces where those promotional content are related to those buttons. But I digress. It is just too complicated. It is just too cluttered for the way it is set up. Number two, I'm looking at ATM accessibility. On this part, Nedbank gets a 0, mainly because it is very, very hard to find an Nedbank ATM anywhere. It is like looking for a needle in a haystack, and I am talking about main malls where there are no ATMs. Why don't you invest in ATMs? Are they saying their customers don't use ATMs? And I have found that because I have to use different ATMs that are not Nedbank, I tend to pay more when I need cash. FNB gets a 4.5 with their ATM, mainly because it's very accessible. You can find an ATM, at least one, in every mall that you go to. And it is very important for a customer to be able to get money at the lowest price. One thing I will say is they could have more, like increase the number of ATMs, mainly because they have a lot of customers. So the wait time for an ATM usually is very, very long. So they can increase the number of ATMs that they have. The next thing that I'm going to judge them on is in-branch/in-store experience. Nedbank gets a 1.5. Now, I do have to add the caveat that I am aware that it depends on the location and the people that they are serving. If you get what I mean, you get what I mean. But it is a shame as well that I do have to give that caveat, because it should not be a matter of the bank is in the location, or it's in a great neighborhood, or it's in a mall, if you do find the branch. But my experience has been that going to the bank is the worst thing that I can do, because the wait time is at least 30 minutes to even speak to a consultant. And most of the time, the consultants are not at their desks. And that tells you that these people are not looking into giving the best service, because if people are in the bank and they are looking to be assisted, the consultants should be there. And once you interact with the consultants, in my experience, it has not been the best experience ever, mainly because they can come across like they don't want to be there, or they don't want the customers to be there. So that has been my experience with Nedbank. If you had a different experience, please comment in the comment section below and let me know. I am aware that this depends on the location and the people that they're serving. So it could be different in, say, Sandton or Pretoria main branch. I could be wrong, but in my experience, it hasn't been the best. FNB gets a 3.5, mainly because they they have a lot of customers, as I have mentioned before. So you find that the wait time is not insanely unreasonable, but because they have a lot of customers, it can take a while to be assisted. But once you are assisted, the consultants know what they're doing. It is very rare that you go to the bank and you don't find assistance. Most of the time, they will give you assistance and you will get done what you need to get done. So I am very happy with that. They do tend to be different based on who they're serving. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. And I think it's very important for me to share these caveats, because I am looking at the best experience with these banks. So if you care about customer service and how people speak to you and how they show up when they are helping you, these things are very important to know, and you should know where to go when you need the best service. And I have found that FNB can be consultants can be helpful regardless of where you are. You just have to be aware of the fact that depending on the place that you are, the wait time can be more, because of the volume of customers that they have. And Nedbank, maybe if you try more affluent neighborhoods, you might find a better service, because then they want to keep a certain level of service. But in areas that I have frequented, it hasn't been the best. Now I will talk about what I think is the most important one, which is the call center experience. Nedbank has an amazing call center experience, which is a weird juxtaposition, uh, considering that in the in-store experience, it's quite terrible sometimes. Their consultants on the call center are very quick. It is very rare that you wait for your call to be picked up. They will resolve your issue as quickly as possible. And I have found that I am able to get things done more when I call the call center than go into a branch. So they are very well mannered. They will speak to you very well. It's very rare that you have a bad experience, that I've had a bad experience with their call center. One thing I will say is they need to figure out their card delivery service. So what you can do is, you can, if you lose a card, you can request for the card to be delivered to you from the app. So I've had an experience where I didn't even receive my card, because the service delivery people have the worst service ever. They don't want to come to certain places. They only want to serve affluent neighborhoods. So I guess this is a through line for Nedbank. If it's not an affluent neighborhood, they are not servicing that neighborhood. And I have documented experience where I have communicated with Nedbank and the service delivery, card delivery people, that, guys, this is what I'm having difficulty with your drivers, and it still hasn't been resolved to this day. That's another conversation for another day. But I have found that Nedbank tends to like certain neighborhoods, even though they offer services to people in all neighborhoods. So that's something to think about. If you love the convenience of having cards delivered or products delivered to you, you have to be aware of where you live and how those services are going to get to you, because Nedbank tends to not have a great relationship with people in certain neighborhoods. Now, FNB for call center experience, they get a 2.5, mainly because, again, like the app, FNB is too complicated. There are too many departments that are not related to each other. So you will call and be like, I have an issue with my app. They'll say, we will transfer you to the cybersecurity department. They will call you. We will log a complaint. Most of the time, you will not get the help that you need. I have had to figure issues out myself and how to fix them, because the call center is not very helpful. And another thing is the app and the call center have a disconnect somewhere, where I've made applications for, say, investments account or savings account, and I will wait for a response. I will receive an email that says, oh, this account has been opened on your behalf. A consultant will reach out to you. I've had an issue where I waited a week for a consultant to reach out to me regarding a TFSA, and I've had to then call them and be like, guys, I made this application, it hasn't come through. What is going on? And the consultant on the call center will, one, be rude as hell. Two, they don't see my request on my end to their end. So there is a disconnect somewhere between the app and the call center. So you will have to do a bit more legwork to make sure that you get the services that you want from FNB. Whereas with Nedbank, I have found that whatever I do on the app, it immediately reflects to them at the call center. And most of the time, I will click on, say, a loan application. I'm curious. They said I qualify for a loan. Not that I want the loan. I click on it immediately. 2 days later or a few hours later, hey, Miss Banbani, we saw that you clicked on this thing. Are you interested? Is it something that you want? We can get it for you. I find that Nedbank is able to get more products for clients because they are very proactive. Whereas Nedbank, they're not even reactive. Like, you're gonna have to follow up and try to fix all those things, and it can be exhausting sometimes. So that's something else to take into account. So as you can see, FNB wins because they are doing well where it matters most, which is ATM access and in-bank experience and overall bank experience. But like I said, there are very small caveats that you need to take into consideration. In my experience, I would say settle for FNB, mainly because Nedbank has too many issues. If you can't access the things that you need on a daily basis, then your money can't work for you, then your bank is not working for you. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.